Okay, we're going to end right here on this, and let me kind of load this up for you. When Marina Shalin was killed in that crash, there were a lot in the Minneapolis area with paramedics and EMTs that were pretty irate about how this could happen. Okay. And a couple people went to the local media, who was known as a Fox affiliate, and said something has to happen here. And so they were doing some investigation, and I got a phone call. I guess what the investigator did for the reporter did, he just looked up ambulance safety, and my name popped up somewhere, and he goes, "Hey, this guy's in Minnesota. I got to give him a call." So he actually gave me a call, and he asked me if I wanted to comment on it on camera, and I said, "Look, I'll only comment on ambulance safety in general, but I'm not going to talk about the crash. I don't know much about the crash. I wasn't there when it happened, so I'll just do the overreaching ambulance safety." And so they did. They literally came to my house with cameras. I was like, "Oh, geez," and it wasn't. I do a lot of public speaking, but that one made me nervous. That really made me nervous. So anyhow, this is what aired, and think about what the public is thinking when they're watching this, okay? It really didn't put EMS in a very good light, unfortunately.
When you call 911 for an ambulance, you aren't thinking about the driver's qualifications or what the state is doing to make sure the ride to the hospital is safe.
But some people who work in EMS came to the Fox 9 investigators to say this is a big problem that needs attention. Here's what Jeff Valiant uncovered.
You trust them with your life. But in Minnesota, the safety requirements for driving an ambulance aren't nearly as strict as for a trucker who's hauling a semi-trailer of beer.
I'm just sad that after losing my daughter to learn about this.
Dad's a pro blogger. This is his Chicago blog.
What's up?
Yeah.
24-year-old Marina Shalin was an EMT who wanted to become a doctor.
Okay, check this out.
She was killed last October when the ambulance she was riding in smashed into a stalled truck alongside a metro freeway.
If she were here now and were able to speak, she would say, come on, people, get with it and do something about this.
On average, an ambulance crash happens every 7 days in Minnesota. About 22% of them involve someone getting hurt. One of the worst crashes happened in northern Minnesota in 2005 when an ambulance on a non-emergency transport rear-ended a garbage truck, killing the patient and the driver of the ambulance. The state patrol determined excessive speed and inattention were factors.
I think the dangers are much more than misdemeanors.
This man is an experienced Twin Cities paramedic who asked me to disguise his identity. He says the driving skills of some of the young newbies entering the EMS workforce are downright scary.
It's nerve-wracking when you're the back, especially if you get thrown around because now they have to hit the brakes because they're not sure of something.
Most ambulance crashes happen at intersections, but our insider says some new hires still blow through red lights at high speeds.
They tunnel vision on the fact that they've got emergency lights, everybody gets out of the way and they just hit the gas and go.
A Fox 9 investigation finds the state board responsible for regulating ambulance operations has taken little initiative to address what many in the industry say is a growing safety concern.
Nationwide, we have a shortage of paramedics. Every service is doing what they can to hire, and they're younger and they have less experience.
Many are late teens, early 20s, right out of paramedic school. Some have only a couple of years experience driving a car, yet they're given responsibility to take control of an ambulance based on training which can vary widely from one company to the next.
Do we really have a read on how much of a problem we have?
We have a very big problem, but unfortunately it's underreported.
Dave McGowan is a safety consultant. He used to be in charge of a large metro ambulance service.
Certainly, we're not decreasing crashes, and if anything, the trend line is still continuing to go up.
The EMS Regulatory Board oversees ambulance services in Minnesota. Under current state law, you don't need a special license to drive an ambulance. You must attend an 8-hour safety class, which includes some actual driving, but it's up to the individual ambulance services to decide how extensive that behind-the-wheel training should be.
We feel here at Hennepin EMS that we've always been kind of ahead of the curve.
New hires at HCMC spend a day going through all kinds of maneuvers at the Minnesota Highway Safety Center in St. Cloud. They repeat the exercise every 3 years. Some smaller ambulance services told us their training involves driving around some cones in a parking lot.
Too many people are getting hurt, and they need to have that type of standard out there to be able to help guide our training.
Commercial truck drivers have more safety regulations than anyone driving an ambulance. First of all, they have to pass a test to get a commercial license. They're limited to driving 11 hours a day to guard against fatigue. A 10-hour rest period between shifts is mandatory.
So at the end of the day, you can be pretty exhausted.
EMS crews can work anywhere from 8 to 12 to 16 hours or longer.
You just feel yourself sitting at a stoplight and all of a sudden it goes off, that almost makes sense.
There's currently no state or federal requirement that limits their hours or mandates a set rest period.
You know, I was concerned about her getting enough rest. She was constantly telling me how tired she was.
The crash which killed Marina Chalene is still under investigation. We don't know if her colleague who was driving the ambulance back from a call was tired or what else might have caused her to run into that semi-truck.
Are we monitoring drivers? Are we monitoring to make sure that they're driving these vehicles safely? And if they're not, what remediation steps are we taking into that?
Some companies have voluntarily installed systems which warn drivers when their actions are dangerous, but the state's EMS board does not require them. And unlike the trucking and aviation industries, there's no directive for random drug or alcohol testing of people who work in EMS.
It could be that each individual service may adopt that, but no, not from a government level.
A Fox 9 review of disciplinary actions by the EMS board shows since 2014, at least 4 individuals had their licenses yanked for drug use. One EMT tested positive for meth after a coworker noticed her pupils were dilated while she was on duty. 3 paramedics were caught stealing pain meds. You have to wonder what they'd find if random testing was required.
I got a unique perspective in that I was both a airline pilot for 22 years, as well as being a paramedic for 22 years.
Dick Blanchett writes about ambulance safety. He says the industry could learn a lot from aviation, where every crash is carefully reviewed and the lessons learned are incorporated into training for the whole industry. Minnesota's EMS board doesn't require the reporting of ambulance crashes and doesn't have a system to review what's causing them.
Is there a problem? And if you don't have the data to identify, is there a problem, then it's hard to put a solution on to a problem that you're not sure if it does or does not exist.
We don't know if discrepancies in training or if fatigue or drugs and alcohol played any role in the ambulance crash which killed Marina Chalene.
Marina, I'll always miss you.
But her family hopes this tragedy will bring change.
If there's anything that can be done to prevent this from happening to someone else's child or husband or wife or mother or father, then it should be done. It should be done.
The state EMS regulatory board declined our request for an interview. They did tell us they're looking into one of the issues we highlighted in our investigation, the problem of fatigue among EMS workers. I'm Fox 9 investigator Jeff Valiant.
So the state EMS regulatory board is the oversight for ambulance services and paramedics and EMTs in Minnesota. They're basically a do-nothing board. All they do is hand out license. Okay, there is no oversight whatsoever. They said they were going to look into fatigue. They never looked into fatigue. They didn't even hit their radar screen. And when you heard me say that it's underreported, the crashes, exactly right. They don't even know how many ambulance crashes occurred in the state. They don't have a database for it. They're not collecting that information. So don't get me going on that board because they're just, like I said, a do-nothing board. In this crash, the driver, they found that she was not under any kind of drugs or medication or alcohol. She was charged But she did serve no time on that crash at all. So, yeah, I mean, kind of lessons learned there. They did find out that she was charged for inattentive driving. She said that she dropped the microphone down by the doghouse and went down to look for it. And that's what she did. She veered over and hit the back of that semi. I had thought about reaching out to Marina's parents, but I just really never did. You know, they saw the story. If they wanted to reach out to me, they could. But what more can I do? I always thought it'd be great, you know, to get them together and we can do some really good initiatives and put some strategies together, talk about it, but, you know, it never came to fruition. People often ask me that, you know, did you ever get in touch with them? I said, no, I never did. Okay, so we're going to end right here with one other little kind of a little humorous. What are the other four wheels that we use in the MS? You're in this room. Stretchers. Do you think we have problems with stretchers? Okay, don't be these people, okay? Learn from this. Oh. Now watch these two guys, okay? They're clumsy, they drop stuff. So you got one, he's gonna drop something right back here. There it is. And the other one, he's gonna drop something, okay? Now they're gonna stop, okay, and pick up what they drop. They don't talk to one another, okay? All right, here we go. You see it? Here it comes. This one right here is a turkey. I have no idea how the hell this thing happened. I have no idea. Undoubtedly, the patient must be some kind of celebrity if all the pictures are taken, okay, of the guy. Load him up in the ambulance, shut the doors, go to drive off, and then this happens. I mean, how does that happen? This is my favorite. We'll end it up right here, okay? Watch this. Now you got the guy right here. He's trying to get the door held open. Here's the ambulance. Got the patient, his partner. And now he's going to motion for his partner to come over, okay, and help him. Oh, sure, okay. There goes the stretcher. Now wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. There we go. I don't know if that was staged or not, but it's pretty good. And then I always got to show my car. There it is.